Hey, welcome to the Outer Belt Podcast. I am Patrick Lee.
I'm silly.
And over to my left, we got our producer in the house, Jer Bear.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, what a day it has been.
Hasn't it?
We are coming to you from a cold and wet Ohio. It is nasty outside. How nasty is it, Vince?
It is so nasty. Janet Jackson told me to call her Miss Jackson.
Well, I am sorry, Miss Jackson, but
I am for real.
I am for real. It's nasty outside. We were just talking about before the podcast started. We were just talking about trees in their leaves and how like we miss them and everything.
Yeah.
If it was a nice spring day, all those leaves would be on the ground. It was gross. We have had three beautiful days. Absolutely gorgeous days.
Over 70 degrees.
Over 70 degrees, a nice reprieve for the weekend, or from this cold wintry mess. And today is penance.
Yeah.
This was God's judgment on us to, rekindle the soil and refill the riverbanks and everything, and generally make the day gloomy and nasty. But hey, we got through it. Tomorrow's going to be beautiful and 30 degrees.
Yeah, about that. So I think what we just finished is our first faux spring. And then tomorrow we get second winter.
I do like second winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second winter's fun. Yeah. We get what, like 6 more of these before
Before
May comes
actual
around?
spring, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the real question is would you rather be cold or hot, though? Like, I enjoy wintertime. I don't like the way it looks, but I do enjoy the cold weather.
Oh, my dear son, you have not experienced a beautiful Ohio summer.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
great. It's mildly humid, but like in a good way. It's just our summers here are awesome. And when it does rain, it takes like 5 minutes. It just like is a nightmare for 5 minutes, and then it's gone. It's beautiful and sunshiny again. It is awesome. I love it. Being from South Louisiana, summertime was miserable, and this is so much better.
I'm looking forward to that one day where I can comfortably be outside and not a jacket and not be too hot and not be too cold, because as you know, my job is outside most of the time. So I'm either wearing full long johns and a heated jacket, or I'm wearing the smallest shorts I can find in a t-shirt to try and stay cool. And then that just gets muggy and sticks to me.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to be able to sit inside in the air conditioning or the heater while I did my work, but I can't do it. Yeah, that's a complaint. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
You ever climb into a truck
yes.
first thing in the morning?
Uh-huh.
And
Well.
freezing cold. Yeah, first thing in the morning is noon.
Yeah.
For Patrick.
I have gotten into a truck. It's ice cold.
Ice
It's colder
cold.
than outside somehow.
It's colder than outside. Yeah.
Yeah. And the trucks take almost all the way to the next shop before they start to get warmed up. Yeah. But I will tell
They
you,
do.
some of these trucks, not all of them, but some of the trucks have heated seats, and some of those heated seats become lava.
They do become lava.
I
They
mean,
do get hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low, nothing. Medium,
Yeah. High. Yeah.
Melt. Yeah.
It'll melt you. Yeah,
I love the ones that have
definitely.
no settings. It's either like
On or off.
it's either ice cold or Satan lives here. There's no middle ground. It's brutal, but it's what we do.
It is what we do.
I spent many years doing that very thing, and I'm sure there'll be times that I have to do it again going forward. But
How about tomorrow? What are you doing tomorrow morning? You busy?
I am.
Oh, could use your help tomorrow morning.
What are you doing tomorrow morning?
I don't know. We could use your help doing it.
Oh. No, I have. Make something up. I have. You want to trade the phone calls?
Sure, I'll trade the phone calls with you.
Dang, Jerry.
Yeah.
I've got my day planned.
Oh, that's such a good answer.
It is a good answer.
It's such a good. I
It
got my
really
day
is.
plan.
I
I
got
got
my
to.
day
Okay,
plan.
I'm going to write that down. I have got my day planned. All right, excellent.
You know the best part about having plans in this business is they always get changed.
Always
Get changed.
Always get changed. How many wonderful weekends have you been like, oh, we're going to do this exciting thing, and then you get that phone call, and it's like, hey, I got a team that's going to be there Saturday at noon. The perfect time on a Saturday to
Perfect
completely
time.
ruin the
Yep,
day.
ruin the whole day.
Can you be there for such and such?
Yep.
And we do it.
We do it.
We do it because we have to. And it's the right thing to do.
Got to put butts in seats.
Got to put butts in seats or
just in expediting in general. Like if you plan to do
Yes.
something, you
Oh.
might as well just
Oh,
throw it
yeah.
out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You going home this weekend? FedEx says no,
Maybe
you're not.
Yeah, I
Maybe
can
not.
think of several times Eric and I ended up out in Vegas or something, and it's like, all right, we got to have a room for the weekend. So, Vegas for a second. Side note, we used to go and stay at the world-famous Plaza Hotel
Oh, nice.
right on the downtown
Fremont Street.
Fremont Street,
Yeah.
right at the edge of the Fremont Experience, where they have Oscar Steakhouse and that hash place. I can't remember the name of that hash place. Oh, it's so good. It's like one of the best hash places in all of Vegas. They've got like a couple. They've got like one in Caesars and one in Palazzo too or
Okay.
something. It's really outstanding. But we'd stay there at $23 a night. Big spenders we were.
Big spenders.
With free parking.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't tell you, there was quite a few times it was like, all right, got here on a Thursday night. I'm sure we'll get a load for Monday morning. Let's go ahead and we're going to have a long weekend and just live it up. And then it'd be like, hey, you want to run this weekend? It's like, well, I mean, if
Yeah.
we have to.
Kind of.
I mean, is it a short load? Goes to New York. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Sign me up.
But yeah. No, plans, you learn real quick to be real adaptable to plans.
Very flexible.
Very flexible.
Very flexible.
Like a Ford flexible.
Melissa and I did that once at a campground in just north of Dallas, where we booked 2 nights, pulled in, got stopped to go check in, and the phone rang. And it was a load offer. And it was a load offer that we really couldn't refuse. So we stayed for one night, made everybody in the campground mad when we backed out of our space at 5 o'clock in the morning with the backup beeper on.
Oh, yeah.
And boogied on to El Paso to pick up our load. So it actually worked out really nice. But yeah, those plans, they're not firm.
Well, so what we used to do when we were driving is we would either, on the weekends, we would do one of two things. We'd either rent a hotel and just get out of the truck for
Sure.
a couple days. If we weren't running, obviously if we're running, none of this mattered. But if we weren't running, get out of the truck for a little bit, get in a hotel, or we would rent a car and then have that car to go places. We
Right.
never really did both. It was always one or the other. So you're in a place like Vegas, you don't really need a car.
No, you don't.
So we'd get a hotel. If you're in a place like Los Angeles, you desperately need,
You need
a car.
a car.
We
Yeah.
did. We stayed one time in a hotel in Los Angeles in Burbank. I think it was the Beverly Garland Hotel. And
yes, I'm familiar.
okay, and we actually rode city transit to Santa Monica.
Wow.
2 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
2 hours.
I mean, honestly, though, that's an hour drive in a car.
Still 2 hours.
How many buses was that?
It wasn't bad actually. It was like I want to say 3. It was like one local, like real short, like just a couple stops.
Sure.
One got us kind of over the mountain
Right.
into West Hollywood, I think it was,
Okay.
and then or Hollywood in general. And then the next one picked us up in Hollywood and like went through West Hollywood and down through Beverly Hills and
Took
just
you
kept
right down Santa Monica, I'm sure.
Yep,
Yeah.
all the way to the pier. And oh man, it was brutal. It
But
was
you can-
brutal.
LA's public transit system will get you places, just not right now.
Yes.
It takes a little time.
Yeah. And their subway line, basically worthless, but it's neat.
You know, the first one that they built, the first line didn't go anywhere. It went from Long Beach to downtown LA. If you lived in Long Beach, it was great to get downtown if you worked downtown. Otherwise, it was horrible. They've been building on that lately, though. So you can actually get from downtown LA to Santa Monica on their subway line.
Really?
It's not a subway, it's above ground light rail.
Yeah.
You can get all the way out to Pasadena and beyond on the light rail now from downtown. So actually, they're building a connector in downtown so you can get from Long Beach all the way out to Pasadena on that train. So before I joined Hyfield a couple jobs ago, I actually built the light rail trains that they're using in Los Angeles. That was my job,
Oh, wow, that's
strangely
cool.
enough. So I'm very familiar with the public transit system in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was we ended up doing one time just for fun. We rode the Amtrak from San Diego up to Los Angeles
Okay.
on the Surfliner, I
Yeah.
think is what it is, Amtrak
Yeah.
Surfliner, which is really just, if you've never done it and you want to do a short Amtrak, it's the best short Amtrak to do.
Right along the coast.
Right along the coast. I mean, the whole time you're just watching people out there surf. You're
Yeah.
watching people have breakfast. You go through these really cute little towns
Sure.
where the average house price is like $6 million or something obscene. Volkswagen microbuses and hippies. Like, it's just everything that you imagine, like the quintessential California that everybody kind of has in their mind of on the beach. It's right there. You ride right past all of it, and it dumps you from downtown San Diego to downtown Los Angeles. It's really convenient. It's a beautiful trip. They have you can get like a regular coach seat or you can get a first class ticket, but they have like a lady walking around serving like pastries and such if it's in the morning or in the
Sure.
afternoon, sandwiches, and they have cocktails you can have on it as well and beer. So it does make for a very enjoyable little day trip up there, mess around LA for a little bit and come right back home and the same day or just spend the night. And so we did that one time, and then we actually rode the subway out. I don't know where we went though. I've been trying to think about it since you were talking, and I'm like, I cannot recall where we went, but we did ride it for a little bit, and it was kind of cool because it was all new.
Yeah.
Like when you go to like New York City and you ride their subway, or you go to Boston, ride their train, or you go to like where's the other place? I think
DC?
Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
DC's got one of the best subways in the country, in my opinion, but it's old. It was built in like the '60s, and you go to like L.A. and it's got that new subway smell. I mean, it's like
Yeah, that's long gone.
that's. But it
Long
was,
gone.
it's a really good it was a really good experience. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it was like, wow, this line kind of helps us out so we can get onto another bus. Like, it didn't really bring us anywhere,
that's
but
kinda how
I'm glad to
LA's
see it's been.
That's kind of how LA system works. Is you have on your main streets, you have the express buses that run north and south and east and west. The train kind of intersects some of those, and you have the smaller buses that go on the less popular routes. But again, with LA traffic, getting anywhere is forever.
Yeah,
So.
it is. But the more you learn it, the more easier it is to get
It's
around,
easier,
or
certainly.
you start to figure out like, this
Certainly.
time of the day I'm not going to do it. When we were out there,
To be fair, I used to catch the bus to school, and it was a 15-mile trip from my home to the school I went to. I could get there on the bus I'd ride my bike to the bus station. I could get there on the bus in half hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It would take me an hour in the car.
Yeah.
Because the bus went down the express lane on the highway.
Yep.
And my car, I'm either on the surface streets or on the freeway. And by the time I got there and got parked, it'd be an hour later. So
Yeah.
the bus actually worked out well for me then.
yeah,
But,
I can see that.
that's a rare situation sometimes.
And that's all depending on where you live and where the
All
bus
depends
line
on where
is.
you live.
Yeah.
That's it.
When I lived in Baton Rouge, their bus system, they have like across the U.S. they have these bus rating systems for metropolises and metropoli. I don't know what the word is. Anyways, and they go from like New York City, which is great. They have one of the best public transit systems out there. It's between the buses and the subway system. You really, in the Long Island Express and all the other ones, you really don't have to have a car. There's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
You rarely have to walk more than like half a mile to catch anything. So it may be faster to walk further, but you could do it really with barely any walking. So like from their rating, and then it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And the one in Baton Rouge was the level, it was the second to last level, and it was the last level is just doesn't serve anyone. It's no good. The one we were was basically only the people who absolutely have no other option use it. There was nothing more redeeming than that. And that was such an insult, or not insult, but such a slap in the face for the city.
Sure.
I mean, like, it was just
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
we tried, they passed a tax to essentially double the budget for the transit system down there, and then they just blew it. And, it was very frustrating. Even they actually had the contract to run the buses for LSU on campus,
Right.
and LSU fired them and got someone else because they couldn't keep schedule
Wow.
inside of
inside the campus.
Inside the campus, they couldn't keep it together. Crazy stuff. Like, yeah, it's sad. It hadn't gotten any better, and it's still a lot of nepotism, a lot of, what do they say? Louisiana has the best politicians money can buy.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, well,
That's what I hear.
that's what we got. But it's yeah. Why did we even start talking about this again? Getting out of
Transportation.
getting out of the truck. We either
Hotel car.
or car.
Yeah.
And in LA was always one that I thought having a car definitely helped. And
It
we'd stay at that
definitely helped.
Ontario truck stop, or the was it a Petro or TA? I don't remember.
There's one of each.
One of each, right across
Yeah,
the street from each other,
across
right?
from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun back in those days. Jerry, y'all never stayed at those truck stops, did y'all?
We did. I prefer not to, but
Where would you stay if you were out there? Is it like a little hiding place like some people have, or was it you just stay closer to is it
No.
Hesperia or
Hesperia is north. There's a pilot in Hesperia.
maybe that's yeah,
And
it's
then
the
just north of that is the Loves in Barstow.
Barstow. That's it. Yeah, Loves in Barstow or
TA in Barstow also.
so I was about to say originally, like we would always stick around the Ontario area, TA, Petro, that area. Towards the end, though, we would go up to Barstow. I would just get away from there as much as I could. The parking, the charging for parking at TA and all that just got so ridiculous. I mean, if you're sitting in California for 3, 4, 5 days waiting
Yeah,
for that
that adds
cherry
up.
run, it adds up quick.
yeah. I know when we used to drive out there, parking up front was allowed, and so we would actually park out front. And it wouldn't cost anything,
Yeah.
and there'd be a bunch of other drivers out there. We'd hang out, and sometimes you go out. There was I think there was a mall right there, right? If I remember correctly, an
There
outlet
is
mall or
Ontario
something.
Mills, yeah.
Yeah, and we'd go shopping or we'd go eat or something, just mess around. It ended up being a lot of fun, but that kind of deteriorated over the past few years, from
Yeah.
what I understand, and it sucks. But I mean, you got Barstow's not bad either. I mean, you can actually have where that TA and that Pilot and everything. There's an outlet mall there. There's
There is. Yeah, that's
In-N-Out
right.
Burger. There's Denny's. There's like
Tons of restaurants.
tons of restaurants. It does end up being a pretty nice area to hang out at. In that TA and the Loves both have huge parking lots, don't they?
do. The TA has a huge parking lot. The Loves has the kind of auxiliary parking lot across the street. So it's not huge, but
Yeah.
it's a decent size, sure.
But the Flying J has a pretty decent parking lot,
Yeah, and the best coffee on the interstate, allegedly.
allegedly.
It was my favorite coffee out there.
I did enjoy it. I would get the
I don't do truck stop coffee.
what
No.
Pilot House blend
No.
with the
Sumatra.
Sumatra was always
I was a big fan of the Sumatra pilot.
Pilot House blend with
I had, sorry to catch off, but I had a manager tell me that the Pilot House blend is just all their other coffees left over dumped into one pot.
yummy, yummy Pilot House blend with the ice cold, the chilled French vanilla creamer,
Okay.
and always a couple cubes of ice because Pilot coffee,
It'll burn you up.
it comes out at like what is the temperature where water turns into vapor? It was 1 degree below that.
You know how it gets that hot?
How?
They set the pot on the Freightliner Cascadia seats and turn the heat on. It's the same heating element.
Freightliner
the
seats
same.
brought to you. Freightliner seats brought to you by Bun Corporation, the Bun Corporation of America. Oh, that's why it's called the Bun
you
Corporation.
go.
There it is. Hey,
Yep.
But after having a coffee pot in the truck, just making my own and having Starbucks and everything, truck stop coffee just can't compare to that.
I do get that. Having a Keurig on the truck changed things. So when we first started, Keurigs were out and they were popular, but not that popular. And so like finding K-Cups was tricky. Do you remember that when they first came out? It was like hard to find K-Cups. You like Walmart didn't sell them. You had to actually go places that had them. Of course, now you
places.
now you go to Walmart and you got to find the regular coffee because there's nothing but K-Cups.
Nothing but K-Cups,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
So we only had like a little, you remember the little, were they like 4 and 5 cup drip coffees? Pretty small.
Oh yeah, the little small pour the water in the thing and
Yes.
I know what you mean.
Little
Yeah.
tiny coffee
tiny ones,
makers.
yeah.
So we had those. And that was a mess. You know, you had filters to deal with, coffee to deal with. Like, it was just, you had to clean the pot every now and then. Like, it was just a lot of work. So that's when we usually went inside. Then we did get a single-use K-Cup And you're right. That was life changing. Now we can bring our community coffee from Louisiana
Right.
anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country we wanted to go. And even since then, towards the latter end, Walmart picked up community coffee and started selling it nationwide, so we were able to get it. Like it was really that progression was really nice, but it was still like if I was being lazy, Pilot was always my go-to.
And that's what I would do when I was being lazy. I'd wake up from my shift, go inside Lowe's, and get a cup of coffee and get rolling. Because Melissa and I embraced the mess. We had a French press on the truck.
Oof. No, thank you.
She loves French press coffee. Who am I to deny her love? So I got her a French press one Christmas in the truck, and we rocked the French press.
Yeah, but you don't have to use it.
I would use it when I wanted coffee and I wasn't in a hurry, or I just felt like wasn't feeling lazy.
I tell you, the best coffee I've ever had was with Jerry. When Jerry and I and several of our friends all got together several years ago, we went to Italy, and we had every place we stayed at in Italy. Is it called a percolator?
Yeah, that goes on the stove.
It's like a stainless steel or aluminum percolator that we put on the stove with espresso in it.
Okay.
But we'd make like a full-size cup of espresso of that. Oh my gosh. Freaking awesome. Some of the best coffee I've ever had in my life. Loved it. It was outstanding. And the only thing more surprising to that is that Jerry made us go to several stores so he could find a plug-in drip coffee maker, which is extremely hard to find in Italy, but we found it.
We did.
Perseverance does pay off.
We did. Because in the mornings, like there was, 8 of us? And
Yeah, there was a line for the percolator.
Yeah, so it would literally, like you would wait all morning for one cup. So
And it would just do one cup at a time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then by the time it was your time, you had to like carefully handle the percolator because it'd be 1,000 degrees.
I bet. Wow.
Yeah, we had that drip coffee maker all the way to the end because me and Don actually disposed of it before we got on the plane and came home.
Did y'all dispose of it, or did y'all leave it at the Airbnb for someone?
We disposed of it. Yeah, there was no way I was going to be
For
able
shame.
to bring it home, so we disposed of it.
I remember that last place we stayed at. It was not. It was weird. It was like modern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the best coffee I ever had. And then my daily is just an espresso, shot of
I was
espresso.
gonna say you don't percolate here at home.
Nope. I use the Nespresso pods, pop one in the machine,
Right.
press the button, have a shot of coffee, and get along with my day.
At noon.
Only on the weekend. Only on the weekend. But it's funny. We were just talking about TA and that TA in Ontario in Petro. Fresh off the press. And some of you may have saw we were going to talk about this. I posted on Facebook earlier and Instagram. Travel Centers of America to be purchased by British Petroleum for $1.3 billion.
That's a lot of money. Cash money, too. It's not a stock in cash. It's all cash money.
It is all cash, an assumption of some debt, I believe, but yes.
Yeah, but it's like $86 a share.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they do with them. I mean, they're talking about how they're going to Jerry and I were discussing this earlier. This is what Jerry said, so I'm taking his words. I think the big takeaway here is how it's going to help build TA's carbon neutral footprint with other types of fuel, electric, natural gas, hydrogen, those types of things. So be curious to see how that works out.
Yeah, that is one thing I've seen Loves and Pilot both invest in is natural gas, and also starting to put charging stations in for like Teslas and other brands. So it will be interesting to see what does BP do with that. Do they? I mean, from their press release, I think that is part of their intention is to actually do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously on a scale that's much larger. I'm very curious. Like I've been following TA for years. When I first got on the truck, all of TA's travel centers had all been recently renovated. Their showers all had that ivory. Is it ivory or granite or it's granite, right? Or marble?
It's
I
like
don't know.
Marble, I think.
Marble.
I think it is a
Yeah,
marble.
it's marble. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
With
They
the
all have,
orange tiles.
yeah. So they went through and they redid all their stores, poured tons of money in them. And I mean, it was really nice. Like TAs and Petros. Well, mostly TAs. Petros, not as much, but they're really, really nice. And they were always our favorite places to stop and take a shower. Throughout the extent of when Eric and I drove, we just watched that steadily fall apart.
They did the remodels and didn't keep up with them.
They did no maintenance
They really
whatsoever
didn't.
on them.
Big
And
decline.
in what used to be like the best truck stop when I was driving is now I talk to a lot of our teams and they're like, they're terrible. They
Yeah.
absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
Even their points, their reward system is not as good as what anybody else offers. Their coffee is battery acid. Speaking of bad coffee, there's a reason they have Starbucks in a lot of their locations because their coffee's atrocious.
Horrible.
They've seriously backed down. So TA owns Country Pride and Petro owns
Iron
Skillet, and they've severely limited those menus. Those menus used to be huge menus with tons of options, lots of healthy options, and they've scaled all that way, way, way back. No longer open 24 hours. They're changing their times to really very limited, like shockingly limited, like closing them by 9 or 10 o'clock at night, which is when a lot of truckers are starting to shut it down and could actually go in and get a meal. So it's really, and at the same time, back up, and at the same time, as a company, they've been losing money and trying to find ways, how do we get more profitable? So rather than take the approach of like, let's reinvest our income and increase the quality of our stores, they're making it more limited. So they're like, we can make more money out of the restaurant if we don't have it open during these hours,
Sure.
as opposed to we can make the menu better to entice people to come in and eat with us. So lots of those kind of changes are happening, and it's been unfortunate. I mean, they've really been a company that's over the past few years have been struggling to find their identity and find a way to stay relevant in a very, very quickly changing truck stop environment.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that they decided to cut cost versus making their establishments more appealing to their customers. You know, you're cutting hours, but you're cutting hours and cutting the menu of a place where a lot of drivers like to go eat. They like the salad bar, they like the chicken fried steak, they like the daily specials, you know.
Absolutely.
But when you're cutting back on those things, well, where are your customers going to go? They're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Across the street to the Popeyes at the Pilot, or the Denny's at
Or
the
the
Love's.
Denny's at the Flying J, or
exactly.
wherever I am.
Yep. So
yeah, it has
unfortunate.
It has been an unfortunate decline because that was the Country Pride was definitely a favor of ours. We would go and get you get your entree, and then you go over there, Country Fried Steak, for example, and you would get a side salad. You walk over there and you make your own salad, and I mean, like after a hard run, maybe you just ran your tail off for 2 or 3 days. Getting that, like, okay, we can sit down and relax and enjoy really good food. I mean, like, Country Pride, I don't know how you feel about it, Jerry. Back in the day, Country Pride and Iron Skillet were really good restaurants. I enjoyed them a lot. They weren't like, don't get me wrong, they're not giving Texas Roadhouse a run for the money on their steak.
of
But
course not.
if I had to compare it to a Denny's, I'd much rather have gone to them.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
and today, it's the opposite. I'd really rather go to the Denny's.
Yeah.
So it's a shame to see them really take that company and flip it in a very negative way, while at the same time not understanding why they can't make money.
Yeah. Well, let's hope BP can use some of their convenience store experience and turn TA Petro around a little bit.
Absolutely. And another thing that always threw me off was one of TA Petro's largest franchisees is Iowa 80. And the Iowa 80 company has the Kinley 95. They have Oak Grove 70 out in Kansas. Is it Oak Grove or Oak?
I don't know.
In Kansas City?
I don't know the name of it.
I apologize. If you know it, please add it to the comments below.
Please.
We'd like to be better with that. But I think it's the Oak Grove 70 right outside of Kansas City. And those are extremely nice.
They are.
Extremely nice TAs and Petros. They have giant chrome shops. They have
Tons of parking.
Really good food options, quick service, and also full service if you want. Big laundry facilities, lots of showers, And every time I go, they're full. Every time I go, there's tons of people there. They're always enjoying themselves. Like, they are the place to go to. And then you go literally with the one out in outside of Kansas City, I'm pretty sure it's Oak Grove.
Oak Grove 70.
Oak Grove 70. Right across the street's a corporate TA store. And it is a miracle they have anybody in their parking lot.
Well,
I mean, it just like...
You know why they do? Overflow.
Yeah.
You know, when you can't get into Oak Grove 70, you go across the street to the TA to park because there's no parking at Oak Grove 70.
Absolutely. You're correct. And it's like they have the blueprint for here's how to run a very successful TA and Petro, and they've not accepted it. So I'm really hoping that BP not only comes in and standardizes the stores a little more and really helps out their quick service, or not quick service. What'd you say? What's it called? Convenience store side of it.
Right. Yeah.
But also embraces the truck stop side of it and helps increase those and bring those, at a bare minimum, bring them back up to being nice,
and
clean. Ideally, tear some of these down that are not up to spec and rebuild them. I mean, they kind of are trying. Like, there's the one outside of south of Louisville they've torn down. I believe they're rebuilding it.
Yes. On 65.
So they recognize that they're trying to make some improvements, but hopefully with BP, with all the cash BP has, they can actually go in and do a fairly quick flip on a lot of these stores and get them up to standards.
We need those places. We can't just take over and shut them down because we need those places.
Yeah, and
drivers have to have somewhere to go to park and shower and get food and with their necessities while they're on the road. And you can't do it all with just Love's and Pilot and the mom and pop shops that are out there. There's a lot of TAs out there. 240 something, 280 was it?
I believe so. 280 stores in 44 states.
Yeah. So we need all of them.
And 600 full-service repair shops. I mean, the repair shops are vital, too. Like, that's Definitely. A huge part of even our repair maintenance network is utilizing those from TA and Petro. It is they do serve a purpose. My frustration with TA Petro is probably like most people's. It's not put them out of business. It's please help them. Yeah. Please help them figure out where they're messing up. Please help them get better in a lot of areas. Please help them hire and train staff. Please help them maintain their stores properly. Please educate and help and make all these changes. Make the convenience store side of things feels very 1980s 7-Eleven.
Really yeah.
Whereas Love's and Pilot have really come through, and their convenience stores feel like a modern store. Like, everything's really nice. There's good labeling. There's good packaging. All their stores are pretty uniform.
Very uniform.
Even if they're laid out a little different, there's still so much uniformity that you can walk into a Love's and immediately know where the restroom is.
Yes,
immediately know what deals are
Yep.
the M&Ms 3 for $3, things like that Love's or at TA is really not had. And a lot of that's Love's acquisitions. They've purchased a lot of their truck stops. They build a lot of them. I think it was 76 truck stops that they purchased was as a large chunk of the TAs.
Okay.
And so a lot of times, and there's several others too. So a lot of times when you go to a TA, you're going to a rebranded something other than them. They're not necessarily from the ground up. That's why Petros, I think, feel so much in general. Petros feel more uniform.
They do
than a TA does, and so hopefully they'll be able to go through a nice cash influx and rebuild and help bring those up to kind of the old, I say glory, but the old glory they used to be.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. They are known for having some of the best fuel. Like, they do spend a lot of money making sure their fuel is top notch. They do have really good shops all across the country. I mean, there's a lot of bad ones, don't get me wrong, but they do have, in general, there's a lot of good ones. I just would like to see the truck stop side of them get better.
Improve.
And that driver experience.
Sure.
One thing I would love to see all truck stops do, just my personal opinion, is most recently I was traveling whenever I was getting ready to move up here to Ohio. And second time in my life, I stopped off at a Buc-ee's. Now, this place is like an amusement park.
Yeah.
Yes, it
It's
is.
on steroids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truck stops really need to take a lesson. Like these things are just killer.
They're amazing.
They absolutely they are. We could go down a whole nother Buc-ee's tangent if you wanted to,
Yeah.
but they I mean, like, the problem, I agree with you 100%. Let me just back up and say, I agree with you. The problem is Buc-ee's is a destination. If we had truck stops spread out like we have Buc-ee's, we'd be dying to get fuel into our trucks, right? Like, you go so far without having fuel, what are you going to do? So that is the nice thing about your TAs, your Loves, your Petros, your Pilot Flying J's, is that they are considerably closer together.
Yeah, and
But-
I agree. I think what I'm saying is like their convenience side of things.
Yes.
They need to take cue from those, like the food offerings and
Absolutely.
just everything available 24 hours a day. And
Absolutely. And you see that with Pilot. I think Pilot and Flying J are really I was going to say the wrong word. I'm sorry. Pilot and Flying J are really trying to do that with the PJ Fresh, with the food offerings. And I'm not talking about the stores they've modified that have like a tiny little steam trays and then they've with some macaroni and cheese and fried chicken and the pizza rack. I mean, like the bigger, newer Flying J's that have quite the spread. Like, they're trying to do it. Loves doesn't seem to even care to try. They've got some little convenient things and packaging to
Little
go,
cups,
but
yeah.
that's about it. And then you go to TA and Petro and you get fruit that's got fruit flies and, you know, the
Yeah.
bananas are black and, you know, like you can definitely tell that is not their goal. I agree with you. I would love to see them try to increase that. And, you know, the Petro, I don't know if all these Petros are like this. Let me know in the comments if I'm mistaken about this or if it is very, very common for Petro. But like the one in Hammond, Louisiana, that I grew up in Baton Rouge, so that was the closest one to me. In the fuel island, which was separate than the main building, they had they do have a food offering, and it's usually like red beans and rice or fried chicken or pulled pork or something like that. There's nothing about it that's like healthy and redeeming, but it is quite tasty. Some of that stuff's actually really, really good. Of course, South Louisiana, how could it not be? But at least there at least at one time was an attempt to do that, and I have seen it sporadically at other ones, but the majority don't have that. So it seems like at one point you can kind of see like elements of like at one point they said, yeah, we're gonna give that a shot, and it just didn't work out,
Yeah.
or they didn't give enough time to build it, or it could just be it could also be like a just in our conscious now or in Americans' minds of trying to eat healthy.
Well, what is that a place like that though? A sign of the past where truck stops used to have smaller mom and pop restaurants versus the big chains. I mean, you mentioned Love's not kind of going to that fresh food option. You know, Love's the fast food places that are in the most Love's truck stops are franchises owned by Love's. So
Yeah.
they've invested that way versus having another company come in to run the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Keeping it all in house.
Absolutely. I think you very much see a couple different mindsets here, I believe. So you see Love's goes through and puts in these restaurants in their facilities. They started with Subway, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Fun fact, Love's is the largest franchise of Subway ever. They are the largest Subway franchise there
I
is.
believe it.
So they put that in, and that makes sense. It's cheap.
Sure.
It's easy. It doesn't take up a lot of real estate. And then they started building their stores a little bigger, and now we have room for a Godfather's Pizza or something else that they could then also do, right? Because pizza and Subway kind of go hand in hand.
kinda do.
You can make that work pretty easily. Or a Chester's Chicken or something like that. Then they grow the stores a little bigger, and now they've got a full-fledged McDonald's or a Hardee's
Right.
or something like that I don't think they own, right? Or do they?
My understanding is that the restaurants that are inside of a Love's truck stop are Love's franchises. Love's holds the franchise to those facilities.
So I get Pilot and Love's confused. One you can use your points at, and one you can't,
Love's, you can use your points in the restaurants.
including the McDonald's.
I don't know because I haven't eaten at McDonald's in so long. I don't know, honestly.
I love me a fillet of fish.
I love
but
me a fillet of fish, too. It's just fillet of fish don't love me.
So one of the two, either Love's or Pilot, I don't recall which one it is. The ones you can use your points at, those are owned by the truck stop. The
Right.
ones you can't are franchised.
Right.
And I don't remember which is which. So, but irregardless, the point is you see the growth of like the tiny truck stops with just a Subway, all the way up to the ones with the McDonald's in them that are probably their biggest that they have right now. And they've tried to expand. Like they did a test with IHOP. I don't know if you remember that. They put several IHOP Expresses in across the country. Those were a total failure. I think they're all gone now. So they've kind of Love's is sampled in that full service market. I think now they're putting washing and drying washer and dryers.
Yeah, most of the new stores now have
Yep.
laundry facilities.
So it's that thing of like you're seeing Love's evolve
Sure. Oh, yeah.
while at the same time watching TA de-evolve.
Sure.
And you're watching Pilot Flying J basically do the same thing. They're just kind of doing it better than they used to do it. So it's very interesting. I don't think Love's will ever become full service. I mean, but then what's the definition of full service, right? Because now they've got they bought Speedco, they have the tires, they have oil changes. They just pinned a deal, came out a couple weeks ago with Freightliner, that they're now a Freightliner warranty service center,
that, yeah.
just like TA Petro is.
Yeah.
And they've also got that lined up with International. So now they've got International and Freightliner in house. So they're going to start keeping parts for all these trucks. So you do see Love's migrating that way towards full service. I wonder if they ever intend to go completely full service with sit down restaurants and crumb shops and everything that TA Petro did, or if they are going to kind of like get to this hybrid and call it good there.
I don't think Love's going beyond where they are now as far as more full service with the Chrome shop and that type of thing. You know, they've got, I don't know how many stores. I was trying to see how many stores they have, but all of them don't even have a tire shop.
Correct.
You know, so the newer ones that they're building have a tire shop, a Speedco now.
Yep.
You know, they have the laundry facilities, they got the showers. The one here in Bell Fountain has RV hookups.
Yeah.
You can, spend money for an RV spot. So that's going to be based on how much space they have, obviously, how much property they're buying.
Absolutely.
But I think that beyond that, they're not. I don't know if they're going to go much further for a full service restaurant and a crumb shop.
It would be interesting to see. I mean, like Love's is our preferred fuel vendor. They treat our drivers great.
Very well.
They really go above and beyond for us. And TA Petro actually are our second option. So I am very curious to see what happens with them over the next couple of years. They have to get regulatory permission still to do this. You are now still talking about it's BP America, but it's still essentially a British company buying a large chunk of real estate in America that sometimes brings interesting entanglements. And you're talking about a gas station company basically that is now buying truck stops. They may have to sell off some of their stores to pull this off. I know that happened with when Pilot and Flying J merged. Actually, you've probably seen it. There's a few, not a lot, but there's a few Loves around the country that look like former Flying J stores.
Because they are.
They when Pilot Flying J merged, that was the conditions. They had to sell off some of these truck stops. So Love picked them up at a bargain
I bet.
to make the big package work. So, I think the one in Gary is that way too. Gary, Indiana.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm hoping this is the injection of investment that TA and Petro needed, and I'm very excited to see where they land in the next couple of years.
If I can add just one piece of information that my researcher shared with me.
Yes, please.
Love's has more than 500 stores in 41 states.
Most in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm reading something incorrect. They have more than 600 stores in 42 states. Just in the last 30 seconds, they've increased their store count and their state count.
By the end of this podcast, they'll be in 45.
Exactly. Oh, here comes an update. That was as of 2022. So
yeah. Well, Ed Loves is building like wildfire. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're a private corporation, and I don't know where they're getting their money, but something tells me someone invested something somewhere because all of a sudden they've blown up, and I don't mind it. They do a great job.
Well,
so yeah, that is our takes on British Petroleum and TA merging. Or not merging, but beginning bought out. We would love to know what you think. We'd love to hear your experiences with TA or Petro. Please leave us your comments below. If you are curious, or if you would like to email us, we do have an email set up. And if I can remember what that email address is, this will take me a second. Chili has something to tell you.
I do have something to tell you. When you have important things you want to share with somebody, Jerry, it's a good idea to write them down. That way, especially when it comes down to the time, you can share somebody. You have it on the notepad. You can just read it off the notepad. So,
I would agree.
Just a pro tip for communicating with others. Write those things down so you don't forget them. That's a great idea. And here's Patrick with an email address.
There was a country artist back in the day, and he said, "Write this down. Make a little note to remind yourself in case you're on a podcast and you forget." But that's going to be the Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com. The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com. We would love to hear what you have to say. We read through those emails. You can even send your hate mail there. We won't read those, but we would love your any constructive criticism, any thoughts you have, any disagreements you have. If you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, go over, etc., we'd be happy to go over them, talk about them, do a little research, give you our hot takes.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Again,
we are three slightly opinionated people, and we would love the opportunity to discuss something with y'all. On my desk, for those of you that can see, is an airplane. And as discussed last week, I will be sharing these with y'all. What I have on my desk. For those of you that were not here last week, I am a travel aviation nerd, junkie, and I collect models of airplanes, but not just any models of any airplanes. Every airplane model I have, with the exception of two, has a story. Well, they all have a story, but with the exception of two, I've ridden on all these airplanes and have a story about that experience. And I'm going to slowly introduce those to everyone one by one. Last week was a Lufthansa Boeing 747-400, and we talked about it because it was the last. Boeing has just ended the production of the 747.
A sad day.
Sad day for aviation nerds all around America, or around the world. And on that trip to Switzerland, that I ended up flying that particular plane back, the whole reason I went was actually for this plane right here. This is a Swiss Airlines A340-300. A340-300 that will be on the test. For those of you that can't see, it looks basically like a 747. I'm sorry, not 747, 777. But it has 4 engines. It is a wide-body airplane. This thing, they designed it to be able to fly far. That was their whole goal, was this thing needs to fly far, get people as far as they can. So Swiss had them because they're flying to America, they're flying to Brazil, that kind of thing. Emirates flew a bunch of them for a long time.
Well, how far can they fly?
So far. No.
Far enough.
Far enough. They are... someone once told me if you are going to talk about something, you should write it down. At A340-300, can you look at that for me on Wikipedia? A340-300.
Yep.
So, where they were particularly impressive was Virgin flew them for a really long time. So did Singapore Airlines flew them. So like these companies that fly long haul, long distance routes, right? Like none of your Deltas or American Airlines, anybody like that, they had no interest in
Crossing oceans.
But crossing Pacific Ocean, that sort of thing, flying long distances, that's what they were really good at. This plane has been out of production since 2000-ish, something like that. It's been out of production for a while. They quit selling these things because they are just gas hogs. Man, they consume so much fuel to get somewhere that nobody operates them anymore. They lose money on every single flight they take, that kind of thing. And especially with fuel prices going through the roof,
Sure.
It really got advantageous to fly them. So in the middle of the pandemic, everybody except for Swiss retired their A340s. And so I was like, oh my gosh, if I ever want to fly on this plane, I'm going to have to jump on it immediately. So we took a trip down to Miami, hung out with some friends, and then flew to Switzerland on this plane, 10 and a half hours on this plane. I was able to bump the ticket up for not a lot of money, up to first class. And so we flew this thing to Zurich, and it was awesome. So one thing that's really unique about this plane is the engines on it are the same engines that are on a 737. So they're really tiny, which means this thing has no climbing performance. So when you are on a plane and they are taking off on the runway and you're going really fast down the runway and then it takes off, you're like slung into your seat and you're like at a 45-degree angle up to the sky and you keep going up and then you burst through the clouds, right? Well, this thing won't do that.
Really?
You barely feel like you are accelerating. You feel like you're going up maybe like 3 degrees. Like it hardly can tell you taking off the ground. A mile later, you can clearly see people walking on the street. Like it is notoriously famous for being an extremely poor performer in that aspect. They take forever to get in the air. Whereas, say, a normal airplane is at cruising altitude, or the people can come out and like serve your peanuts and water, say, within 10 minutes of the trip.
Yeah.
This thing, half an hour.
Wow.
It takes forever to get to elevation. But once it gets up there, it does great. It's got huge fuel tanks, and it can go for a long time. It's got 4 engines, so if one goes out, you can still make your flight without having to worry about it falling out of the sky. And so that's why I really wanted to try it, really wanted to experience it. And had a great trip on it. Now, the kicker is, 2.5 years later, they still fly the thing.
You did all that.
I did all that to get on a plane. Yeah, to get on a plane they're about to get rid of, and they're still flying it. So there you go. It actually, some of the guys that retired them have brought them back. So that was
So they're no longer in mothballs out in the desert of San Bernardino, California, where I used to hang out and
correct
the truck stops. So a little research, I got a couple of conflicting numbers. One number I have says that the range is approximately 8,512.8 miles.
Okay.
Approximately.
Yes.
The other number I'm seeing is 7,300 nautical miles. I didn't do the math.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's close.
It's the lower one. It's the 7,300 miles.
Not nautical miles.
Miles
versus ground miles.
They're both saying the same thing, aren't they?
No, the one is just saying miles, not saying nautical.
Give me 1 second, because we all know that a nautical mile is actually a 1.15 regular miles. Oh, so they're both saying the same thing.
That's what I'm.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. But I mean, approximately 8,512.8 miles.
That'll get you somewhere.
Roughly.
It'll get you somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So, and I mean, what better way to fly than Swiss?
And if I can get paid that by the mile, I'd take it.
Yeah, and you think about the fact that thing's probably burning,
the fuel surcharge on that's got to be crazy.
50 gallons a minute or something crazy like that. Like, yeah. So, anyways, that's the airplane of the day.
Fun.
It was a really memorable experience. Glad I got the opportunity to take it and cross that plane off my list. There was a hot minute there where I was extremely nervous that I would not be able to take it. And if you are listening to the podcast and you're like, "What is this airplane Patrick's referring to?" we on the Outer Belt Facebook page and Instagram page, I do take a picture of these and I post it up there for you to see if you are just mildly curious. I know the majority of people are going to be like, "Oh, this segment," but for the 6 of you out there that actually do care, they will be posted on that Instagram and Facebook page, along with any other notes of anything else that's interesting to and relevant to the show when that does happen. So.
It is fun to hear your stories about these planes. I mean, I've seen them in your office before, but never knew the stories behind them. I mean, a couple of them maybe you've talked about, but it's cool to hear the stories behind these planes. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love flying. I know there's some people that are terrified of it. I'm one of those people. I have been terrified of.
Sure.
Let me back up and say that I'm not going to get too specific because there's a plane that goes with it. But I have been in a plane that had a really bad situation happen, and so that kind of messed me up for a little while. And it's nice to actually be at a point now where it's enjoyable again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love it. I think it's fun.
So I don't have the planes, but I was thinking I'd take this truck here in front of me because I do have a story or two to go with this truck. And every week I'd come up with a different story to share with this truck, if that's okay with you guys. I mean, I don't want to bore you with truck stories.
No, I think it's great. I think Jerry will do the same.
Actually, I told stories in the truck already tonight. I was just joking.
Oh.
I knew you reached for that button.
Yeah, it's hysterical. I'm curious too. What do people think when I go Because I do a lot, don't I?
We all do a lot.
I gotta myself.
It's a natural human tendency to say
and.
You said and.
And comma and.
Cool.
I feel like I say sure too much.
That's because it's written on the back of our microphones.
Oh.
So you're just seeing it constantly.
I'm seeing it right there. When I look at you, I see sure.
You see sure, and you're like, oh, sure.
Sure. If you say so.
It makes me think of the old deodorant commercials. The sure deodorant commercials. Are you sure
Raise your
or
hand
unsure?
if you're sure.
I don't know why y'all listen to us. Anyways,
I don't either.
We are just about done. I just wanted to bring a couple things up real quick. We have coming up a few events. We have, first and foremost, the soonest thing is the Mid-America Truck Show. We are going to, in Louisville, Kentucky. It's at the Kentucky Expo Center. We're going to be in booth 65024 in the West Wing, which is famous because it also houses
the president.
The president. That is correct. I'm not sure what he's president of, but something.
He's there in the West Wing.
He is in the West Wing. So the Mid-America Truck Show, we are going to be with Panther Premium Logistics. It is Panther's Premium Logistics. It's their booth. We are going to be there supporting them, hanging out with them, talking to other people, or talking to people for them or with them about the different opportunities that are with Panther. Some involve our fleet and some don't. If you want to purchase your own truck and put it on there, that kind of thing, or if you would like to find a fleet owner to drive for, we could certainly help you with that. It's going to be a very fun experience. The Expediting Chicks are going to be there. Luke Shire Expediting Adventures are going to be there. Expedite is going to be there. We're going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We would like to see y'all. It is March 30th through April 1st. That is March 30th through April 1st, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I recommend coming on Friday or Saturday. Thursday's kind of slow. And it has free trucking parking. If you're in a truck, you can actually park. Go to truckingshow.com, and that actually has a link on there to where the truck parking is, because it's not actually the truck parking is not actually at the expo center. It's kind of around the corner, and they have free shuttles that go back and forth to be able to bring you back and forth from your truck. It's a lot of fun. There's going to be a big concert there, which I said I was going to look up and I forgot, and I apologize for that. But it is a good time. Louisville, Kentucky. It's a fun place. There's going to be a lot of giveaways. There's going to be a chance to meet up with all aspects of the industry, be it the carrier, be it the truck manufacturer, people that build these big fancy sleepers like ARI is going to be there. There's going to be the truck stop people. There's going to be chrome shop people. If you want to buy some chrome or bling for your truck, they're all going to be there. It is a great time. It's a very, very, very large show. And I I just recommend everybody, you got to at least do mats once. It's kind of one of those things that's a bucket list item for most truck drivers. It is a good introduction to what is it like to be a trucker. The second thing that I want to remind people or tell people about is the Expedite Expo / Crossroads of America Truck Show. That is going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. That is Fort Wayne, Indiana, Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. That is July 21st to the 22nd, 2023. We are going to be a sponsor of that show. We will actually have our own booth there. We'll be able to talk to you about Panther, FedEx, all aspects.
Hyfield family.
Hyfield family. All aspects of the trucking industry. Come out and see us. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be sponsoring Casino Night in the After Party. We've got some surprises there as well.
Good
And
times.
we're going to be in booth 413. And that show is free. The only thing it costs is parking. Parking is $16 for a truck. It's I think about half that for a car if you come in a car. But it's about $16 for a truck. That is per day, but if you spend the night, they don't make you repay the second day. So it's a lot of fun. That is a much smaller show. It gives you a lot more chance to talk one-on-one with individual people, the people there. Instead of being the manufacturers of the trucks, it's the salespeople of the trucks, so you can get a little more like real information.
Right.
Both are very fun shows. I highly recommend if you can make it out to one of them, do it. If you make it to both, go for it. It is a blast.
So, quick note on Matt's, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
The artist that's going to be performing at Matt's is Elvie Shane, the 2022 ACM New Male Artist of the Year nominee.
That's the Academy of Country Music. Yep. I've heard his name a few times. I think I've heard a couple of his songs, but I don't know him that well. But I'll be honest, I don't listen to.
We should try and get him on the show.
We should try and get him on the show.
Yeah.
Melissa, if you could
work on that.
If you could work on that, we'd appreciate it. For those of you that don't know who Melissa is behind the camera, she is someone behind the camera. So, she assists all of us.
All of us.
You've heard of Ringling Brothers? She's the person with the whip, running the show.
Right.
She's the one yelling at the acrobats to go do their thing and make the
she's
tiger
the
go.
ringmaster.
The ringmaster.
Yes.
One might even call her the ringleader.
Ringleader.
Yes.
Yes. She is. She's the one that herds the cats. That is Patrick, Chili, and Jer Bear.
And you will all get a chance to see her.
You will.
Not really meet her, but see her. When is that?
Matt's?
That's right. 2 weeks from now, we are going to do on a Thursday night, which, if you want to do something, you should write it down.
Show. Yeah.
On the March 2nd, we are going to do our very first live show.
Live stream.
Jerry's writing this down. What? Calendar. Calendar, yes. We discussed that. We're going to do our very first live show. We are going to hopefully see y'all. We're definitely going to be on YouTube. We're planning on Facebook.
Jerry's giving a thumbs up.
Jerry's giving
him off camera over there giving a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And those people in podcast land are like,
what just happened?
What just happened?
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to try our best to do Facebook. Definitely YouTube, but try to get Facebook in there as well.
Yes, and Melissa and maybe a couple other people are going to try and help be moderators, and so we're going to be taking your comments and your feedback live on air, and we're going to be running with them. We are extremely excited to do this and nervous, and but it's going to end up being a good time. I believe that to be the case. So that's going to be Thursday night. We haven't quite locked down a time yet, but we're working on that. We will let you know in the next episode. And I'll
have to plan for a nap that day.
Yes, and I'll also post on Facebook and Instagram as well what time that's going to be on Thursday, March 2nd. But be ready. We're going to be live, the Outer Belt Live, with Patrick,
Chili,
and
Jer Bear.
Jer Bear. Oh, my gosh. See, this is what happens when you take someone from YouTube and you put them on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't understand waving doesn't translate very well to radio.
Still on YouTube.
Yeah, I think my brain is still. Besides, you always introduce me.
Well, that's just the That's just the initial. After that, you're on your own.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Is there anything else coming up that we need to know about, or is that it? For all those interested in going to Hyfield at Sea and you feel like you might have missed it because the group discount is over, that's just the group discount is over. You can still go. You can still plan your trip. You can still get rooms. There are rooms available. The discounted price has expired, but you can still call that number and get a room on the ship.
Yeah, come join us.
It would be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Of
We're
fun.
doing that cruise on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, December 30th through January 7th.
Yeah.
And that's going to be out of Fort Lauderdale. No, it's not. It's going to be out. That's
No, it's
just
not.
kidding. That's going to be out of Cape Canaveral, right outside of Orlando. That's going to be a fun time. We hope to have we already have a large, great crew that's going to be showing up. We encourage anyone else that's out there, come on over. It's going to be fun. And we hope to see you there. And in the meantime, I guess everybody stay safe.
Yeah.
Make good decisions on the road.
Share our channel with a friend. Subscribe, leave us comments and suggestions on how we can do things better.
Absolutely. If you're interested in what is this Hyfield trucking, what is team driving, what are they talking about, certainly drop us a line. You can do hyfieldtrucking.net. You can go to our Hyfield Trucking Hyfield Family Facebook page. You can go to the Outer Belt page. You can email us at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. You can call Jerry's personal cell phone number at
555
555
1212. Yeah.
55.
But there is always lots of ways to get in contact with us.
Lots of ways.
We'd love to talk to you about it. What we do, we started this podcast because we're excited and love our industry, and we love talking about it.
And we love talking to each other as well. So
We do. We really believe in that Hyfield family hashtag, and
yeah.
Jerry,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're in agreement. That's the first time ever we've all been in agreement.
all in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
Oh.
Darn it.
All right, all in
Darn it.
favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
We'll get this right one of these times.
We will get this right one of these.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't leave money on the table.
Yeah. Don't leave money on the table. Make good choices.
Keep those wheels a turning.